Hi, Ghanshyam.
Hi Pradeep, my
How are
greetings
you?
to you and every one of the viewers of this podcast.
Thank you, Ghanshyam, for joining this podcast. This podcast is known as Project 78. And in this podcast, we try to bring the life experiences from friends and family and great experience and showcase it to others so that they can also learn something and do something great with their own lives. So,
Good
Ghanshyam,
endeavor, Pradeep. I do
yeah,
believe that it will throw light on ideas and experiences that will guide other people.
Ghanshyam, when I look at your life, I see that you have been doing many things in the life. We were studying in the same college. You studied in KRC, National Institute of Technology, Suratkar. Then you moved on to IIM, Bangalore. Thereafter, you moved on to Kerala School of Management, Harvard Kennedy School. And after taking a whole round trip of the world, then you came back to politics, right? That was about your education. And looking at your job profiles, you joined Texas Institute Instruments, right? Ghanshyam?
That's right.
All right. So you were into IC designing. That is core technical. And thereafter you moved on to Intel Corporation, then Blue Spec Inc. And then there was a little change then afterwards. And then you moved into the politics. You've been with Janata Dal United, you've been with Samajwadi Party, and you also have some your own entrepreneurship. It's a knit prep good ed technologies, right?
Yep.
When I looked at my father was in Indian Air Force. And he spent almost all of his life into Air Force. And now he's retired and he's enjoying the retirement life. And when we look at the people of our age, just one job is probably not enough. We want to try more things in the life. So, Ghanshyam, the question to you is that what were your goals when you were in the school? Was politics or all the things which you have done in your life at the moment was somewhere in your mind when you were in school? Maybe you can give a brief background of your school life as well.
Sure, Pradeep. Thank you for this opportunity. When one looks at a person, especially when one is in 40s, I'm 44, you're looking at somebody whose experience will showcase their value system, their exposure in life, their training, their education, their skills, their ambition, the kind of support they have received from people around them, the kind of resources, and the kind of experiments and, in some way, adventures, courage that they have shown in their journey. It is a mix of many things. Different elements can have different proportionality in this, but it will be a mix of many things for most people. As far as I'm concerned, I grew up in Air Force bases across the country, studied at Kendriya Vidyalaya, and at a very early age was able to get an experience of the diversity of India, and that in some way tuned my value system. And somewhere a particular point is not known, but somewhere it triggered a sense of purpose that I continue to work towards, live on. In Air Force bases, you will see that unlike in most parts of India, where often people are judged based on the work that they do, the trade they are in, and the stature that they have. In defense bases, particularly Air Force, you are not judged based on your trade. There is dignity of labor, which is there in many countries across the world, but often missing in many parts of India. But in defense bases, you see dignity of labor. People are respected no matter what job they are doing. They are respected as rank holders of the defense, and they wear the same kind of uniform. They have a similar kind of living. So that became my first value system, that everyone, no matter the job that they are doing, deserves and must be offered an equal respect. The second thing growing up in these bases is the diversity. India is a land of diversity, whether it is language, culture, religion, way of life, the outlook of people. Everything is different. But when you are in a different space, you are in the melting pot of this diversity. And often in politics, you come across debates on nationalism these days. But when you live India in her towns and villages and cities in different states, crisscrossing the country, you realize is that nationalism is not demanding others to show their sense of nationalism. Nationalism is understanding the nation and appreciating how others have contributed towards the nation, continue to contribute towards the nation, and doing your bit towards the nation. So getting that understanding at an early age through real life experiences became a key part of how I see the world, a part of my value system. The third is the integrity that people often take for granted in life, public life as a leader. I believe integrity is the most important thing. It comes on top when all your skills, all your expertise, all your capabilities are measured up. In the defense bases, people are ready to sacrifice their life, put their life on the line on the basis of the command of their superiors. So integrity is an essential. So seeing a system that lives on integrity became a key value system. Integrity became a key value system for me growing up. Finally, I come from a village in Bihar, and every summer vacation we would spend time in the village. We would take trains from different parts of India, often amounting to 2 days or 3 days of train journeys in fairly chaotic times when you would not have mobile. You would be purely dependent on your fate on how a train journey will pan out. And then you reach in a hot summer place like Bihar. I would see excitement of children who would see that here is somebody who speaks a little bit of English, studies in a city school or better school compared to the school in the village. So those many children will come and meet me, and some of them would also want to compete on knowledge and on different topics. I quickly realized that even in a place like my village in Bihar, there were many children who were far more intelligent, far more hardworking, and far more deserving than I was and I am. So that taught me a lesson in humility that where you reach in life is not your own making. There is a lot of things that have gone right for you that you did not create, that were offered to you, that came to you. So one must stay humble in their journey in life, no matter what milestones you reach. So these form the value system on which I grew up. Clearly, a middle class value system in India is to study hard, go to college, and then build your career from there. So that became part of a goal. But somewhere the idea that I wanted to grow up and do something for the country that I had seen from close quarters, from different states, different cities, and different villages, became a paramount idea, and as a result, it guided the direction of my career. So, unlike many who have used wisdom at different stages of their lives based on the exposure, whether it is school, college, work, and thereafter, I was somebody who hooked on to the idea of a sense of purpose that im, that enables doing something which is significant for the country. That idea emerged in the childhood, and I've continued to reject wisdom in some way and pursue that idea.
So this means that you already had some knowledge about your future. Where are you moving to? In the college also, I saw you participating in different cultural events and as well as where the society is concerned. I've noticed that as a small kid, you remember yourself that you wanted to do for the society at large. That's good. So did you face any challenges in your school? Do you still remember your friends from school or from your village? Are you connected with them?
Well, thanks to Facebook and thanks to live near public personality, being on television debates, one ends up connecting with everyone from their past lives. And I have made good friends from my village, from my schools in different parts of the country, and definitely from college. And as the world becomes connected, these friendships evolve further. And there's no better thing to compare against a friendship that has evolved over a period of decades, was built up in school or college. Obviously, there are going to be challenges. Obviously, when you think about pathways that, one, don't have linear tracks, there is no route map available. Two,
Mhm.
don't build upon the capabilities and networks that your family, your friends have. And three, that challenge your value system are going to be chaotic and sometimes even risky. And four, do not have a natural professional order in which somebody gets remuneration or a way by which you are able to demonstrate your capability and move forward. Such pathways come with their own challenge. One part of challenge is that with this, no matter at what education level you rise, you will always have friends who are taking the pathways that are linear, that are well made already by others who've taken those pathways and become successful in career. So one part of life is that you get compared, you compare yourself. So to ensure that you remain focused on the trek that you are taking rather than become sensitive to the comparisons is a key challenge. And fortunately, I've been able to stay in a focused manner and have never fallen into these comparisons. But a challenge is that even if you don't fall into these comparisons, your family, your loved ones will compare you accordingly and measure you accordingly. So to live with the comparisons, and while some of their expectations may not work out as they see your friends performing in professional life, from financial well-being, etc., one has to stay there the course, has to persuade one's loved ones that this is the course that you have chosen and it's going to be all right. So that's one challenge that people face who take their own path. Second is that the path comes with no route map. So if a path does not have a route map and has a lot of risks, a lot of diversions, have a lot of people who succeed by a different value system, sometimes corrupt, sometimes even criminal, sometimes by becoming sycophants, not believing in themselves, right? In that, if one has to proceed, what is the right way to figure out a plan or a route? For me, the value system is the right way to figure out, because if you can demonstrate your value system, your principles in life in a consistent manner, then you move from step to step without thinking, without falling into comparisons with others, without judging or evaluating every move, because you have set certain principles and you are going to move by and large around those principles. So that's the second
Yeah.
challenge, that the uncertainty part of the trajectory. Third is the milestone part of trajectory, especially in public life when you are doing something. We're not looking at business, politics as a business, but politics as a mission to make public impact. The milestones on when one becomes a member of parliament or minister, or somebody significant, right? They exist, but one has to not build one's path on the basis of these milestones. One has to keep believing that someday you will have, it's an irrational belief, but someday you will have that opportunity, and you have to be ready for that opportunity by doing more things right now, by understanding, creating, solving, and challenging problems around you, solving challenging problems around you. By doing all this, one has to be ready for the time when you get to lead one part of society or the state or the nation in on an important agenda. So these are some of the challenges that one faces at every time. Sometimes you live a life where there is no comfort of a certainty of future, no comfort of a financial wellness, little time for your own loved ones, and no real guidance available towards approach one needs to take. And finally, a lot of public life in often critical world around us today, especially social media and media, has become thankless. So it's not as if, when somebody who's doing it with the right reasons does not succeed, people are going to come and give you warm compliments. People can be very critical, and people can be harsh. So you have to be in a mission mode in a way that you don't expect the gratitude from society. You just do it because you want to do it. And keeping it that way keeps it simple.
I get it, actually, Ghanshyam. When you're moving towards your goal, I mean, first of all, for every person who wants to succeed in their life, they need to have their own ambitions, aspirations, goals, and a route map. When there are many people, they have walked through that path and the path is clearly visible, then it's very easy. But there are certain paths where most of the people like me, they have never traveled. You were also one of them. And now you're treating your path in that new, it's a new one. Really, I couldn't imagine on my side. And so you have chosen your goal, the target, the purpose in your life. You have already clear. Then your value system is there, which is the engine, right? Kind of, which is the powerhouse, which is making you move towards the goal. And then thereafter, obstacles comes into the life. And this power, the energy, the positive energy from this, your value system, which is attracting you towards your purpose, should be always greater than the negative energy which is coming from the obstacles. Does this make sense?
It does.
Maybe.
You may not always move forward. Sometimes the negative energies can push you back. The key is that you will have to show grit and determination. And sometimes you may need to just pause and think. But eventually, your goal is to pursue in a direction you wanted to pursue. If one is reasonably flexible in the steps in that direction, one can make it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Sometimes you have to pause, you have to reflect. And you were talking about the system, Ghanshyam. Actually, I talked to our other senior from KRC, Sarin sir, and he was also talking about the ecosystem. We cannot avoid, I mean, we are living in the ecosystem and we need to be really perceptive. We need to know our ecosystem. And inside the ecosystem, we need to find our, like he was talking about the mentors, he was talking about teachers, and he was quite grateful to those who have come at different cross section of his life, and they have helped him to grow further. So, what is your take on this?
Growing up in studying Kendriya Vidyalayas, obviously your parents and teachers are going to be your best guides. And then, if you are fortunate, you'll be surrounded by a group of friends who are also aspirational, who
Definitely.
work hard. I was lucky on both counts. My mother is a very determined person, and my father has a very honest value system. So, in many ways, I was fortunate to have a family and a group of friends as a child to go into a direction with a full belief that if you try hard, apply yourself, you will make it to a good place. From school, I joined NIT Surathkal, then KREC. Typically, at that time, we would take a train journey of 2 to 3 days from around 60 hours to reach the college without a mobile phone, without a direct connectivity, just a few $100 in your wallet. And you will meet students from across the country who are also going to the college, to different NITs across the country, and many to NIT Surathkal itself. So start going from school to a place which was a world of its own, where there is
Mm.
no direct instant connectivity to your comfort zone of your parents, your friends, and others, means that you will develop into an independent person most likely in that place. NIT Surathkal was a planet of its own, a beautiful planet. It has its own beach, temples, people from across the country, sincere teachers, legendary storyline of alumni who have done great things in professional life, graduating from Surathkal, close proximity to Bangalore. So, having blessed with such place as a professional training ground, I think was good to develop on one's own. And again, it is seniors in the college who are determined to pursue their goals. Teachers, many of them played a role from time to time. One of the professors gave me the award for best outgoing student when I
Wow.
graduated. Another professor gave me one of his own gold medals, saying that you were very dedicated to student causes, especially your own department. So these were moments of life when you feel blessed and you feel inspired. Joining Texas Instruments, then Intel, and then BlueSpec, I was quickly able to see what innovation and leadership at global scale looks like when you see companies that have led high tech markets for decades, who have been built by entrepreneurs who span continents and who continue to define the cutting edge and leading edge in technology. One feels that when you make innovation, creativity, and knowledge part of your value system, a part of your ability to work upon and move ahead, um, then there is no stopping point. No imagination is a paper imagination. Things are possible. You have to imagine it in the right way and then apply science, technology, innovation towards it, apply cross functional teams from across the world. So it was valuable to be there, find again friends who would be guides at different times based on their own work ethic and their ability to solve problems. For the first time, I got management exposure at IIM Bangalore and found professors who were
Yes.
extremely talented, well exposed, with thought leaders in their field, and a group of classmates. So every time you are in a new ecosystem of knowledge, talent, and ambition, it shapes you. It gives you a group of friends, mentors, guides, some who would be in that moment play that role, and some who will in long term play that role. So finally, I landed up at Kellogg School of Management, management school known globally, which has
Mm.
alumni connections to businesses, different topics of learning, different subjects of learning, professors. So that is, and it is in the US. So I learned what global scale in business looks like. How do you train for it? How do you have ambitions for global scale? How do you think about entrepreneurship, where you can bring global ideas, capital from across the world, talent from across the world, and try building something which is valuable for the society and make it sustainable, so it has to be profitable. So that knowledge is valuable, and at Kellogg I received that knowledge. I worked briefly with McKinsey in Atlanta, and again, being with a top company that is known for the brilliant minds that it attracts and is able to solve problems in a crisp manner, in a top-down approach, with in an objective manner, gives you a way of solving problems or looking at problems that can stay with you. So that is again a rewarding experience that further enriched me professionally, and as a the professional network and friend network that evolved as a result of all these different journeys became more and more powerful, and had many people who could guide depending on the area of guidance I sought. Eventually, I landed up at the Harvard Kennedy School, which truly became the flagship of everything else that I was doing. I was able to bring together my experiences, meet with people dedicated to society in different countries who had shown courage, who continue to have an irrational belief that they will change their country no matter what the current circumstances are. And many of them have done. I have friends who are ministers, prime ministers, leaders in exile in their own country, have stood up against establishment for what is right, have served people. So it is good to know such inspiring people who also have, who also speak like you, have read similar books, but they have, where they stand out is in the courage and conviction that they are able to demonstrate in society, especially when facing risk. So with all this fantastic foundation, I was ready to take a step into the social sector that I envisioned to work towards. And that's when I landed in Bihar. Ended up meeting Dr. Shaibal Gupta, who is not there anymore, passed away due to cancer. But he became my mentor. He gave me an understanding of social circumstances in Bihar, the political circumstances in Bihar. And with his help, I was able to work with the Chief Minister of Bihar for 5 years. So Bihar definitely is a state with a lot of inspiration, but also the poorest state in India, very young population. So there is no shortage of problems one can solve for. And working with the chief minister, you get exposed to more. The chief minister nudged me to work towards politics. So this further exposure, I was able to support organizations such as Gates Foundation, London School of Economics.
Yeah.
The reason this journey is important is at every stage in this journey, there were people who were professionally more capable, who were more well read, and who had their own mission and credible track record working on that mission. And they became friends and mentors. When you are surrounded by such people, you have to you have to be able to uh, leverage, build upon the collective knowledge, and then not just rest on the comfort that you have such people in your network, but you have to focus on your own mission. That okay, with all this inspiration, with all this professional network, can I now work towards my mission in an honest manner? And that has continued to serve well in this track trajectory that I have taken. For example, post Bihar, one day I realized that the work as an advisor and spokesperson for the chief minister itself is not professionally satisfying because it is not sufficiently hands on. So I decided to take a complete step backwards from politics, came to Delhi from Patna, and thought that it's time to do something which is in education that focuses on high school education and improves the quality of high school education in India. With that, we started a company called Good Ed Technologies, which stands for Good Educator. 7 years later, it's an edtech platform that has 500,000 students who use the platform every year,
Wow.
and is very, very low cost. And we, to give you a sense, the students solve around
Mhm.
200 million questions on the platform every year. So that understanding that how do you build something which is low cost, sustainable, reaches a lot of people, shows direct impact, and plugs a person into the entrepreneurial ecosystem in India, that has been a valuable pathway in this whole purpose for me. So going
Yes.
forward, as I look at the path ahead, I think that whether it is politics or whether it is entrepreneurship, there's a role for somebody in India who can be or many people in India who can be what I call public entrepreneurs, people who leverage the
Mm.
totality of their knowledge and network apply innovation, and then build projects that are important for people of the country and people of the world, that solve something which society needs. And you solve it not because it will give you financial rewards, but you are a public entrepreneur, you will solve it like an entrepreneur, but it may lead to public rewards, as in it solves a problem for people. So there are many problems that I see across in education, health, employment, which remains my core area. So now my focus is to keep looking at ideas in health, education, and employment that focus on low income group, youth, women, and children, and try to solve for these three things: education, health, and employment, and see how these ideas can be leveraged to both build political strength as well as public entrepreneurship. So that's a long, winded answer to your question, but I think it's every stage. If you have a diverse career footprint, then every stage in that footprint can have its own set of inspirers, guides, and sources of knowledge.
Yeah, interesting. So the good ed tech which you started, if somebody has to make use of this platform, a student, what she has to do, what he or she has to do.
So the platform runs something called neatprep.com, that is for students who take biology in grade 11 and 12 in India and prepare for an exam called NEET, that was invented by the Supreme Court of India by aggregating all the various exams that used to exist for entrance into medical colleges for an undergrad education.
Mhm.
And since 2016, when the exam came into force to this time, now there are 25 lakh students who will take this exam every year. And we
Wow.
are a low cost preparation platform for this exam where students use quiz questions, notes, videos, doubt solving, and many other features, notes, guidance from successful students to prepare for the exam. Typically, the coaching industry, these students would pay around 1 lakh or like 1100 to $1,200 a year to prepare. On our platform, they're able to prepare for $15 to $20 a year. So there's a substantial cost saving for the student who can be a self starter and could prepare with such a platform. So this is one example. Then as I support another venture, which is our own alumni, runs something called Angrezi.com, focusing on English language for grade 2 to grade 8
Mhm.
students, and then for IELTS also. Then there is
Mm.
another friend who started a company called Nurse Edge that focuses on helping nurses from India get trained and work abroad. So I keep looking at different ventures that can create this impact, and to the extent possible, try supporting them.
That's great. That's really great. I think India has been changing a lot, especially recently. I visited Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune, Patna. I couldn't meet you. And in fact, our this thing, the 20 years afterwards, no, our alumni meet was there. And I landed just a day after when it
Right.
finished. So I couldn't
Correct.
join you there in Suratgal.
Sure.
However, when I visited these cities, I, s- I mean, I live in Germany. I came to Germany because
Right.
I thought that Germany is advanced. But let me admit, now this is completely changed. The India is like, I couldn't believe what has happened. Even, and I think it's because of the entrepreneurs. It's it's people, the you can say the public entrepreneur or this financial system is completely changed. I couldn't pay. I mean, I took the cash with me and I wanted to pay for the auto wala or somewhere on the road, anywhere. Everybody was accepting only pay by mobile. And if I pay by cash, then definitely, if it is like 200 bucks something, they don't have the change.
Right.
Then I will
Right.
be loss of 300. So it has changed a lot. Calling, getting the taxi and all those things was easy, much easy. The only thing which I regretted was the traffic in Bangalore. It was horrible. Constructions are going on everywhere, even in Patna when I went there. So it was like all the roads or the infrastructure is getting built right now. And I think it is getting built, looking at the futures, that's why it is taking more time. Here in Germany also, I see that when something they are developing, they block the road halfway and then it takes months to complete it. So I can see the parallel over there, but the infrastructure which is coming in India is super. I mean, it's getting built for the future, which is good. And yeah, and hearing you that you are already taking part into multiple ventures, which is really awesome. I'm sure that this will give the people, those who can benefit out of it, a big uplift. Definitely. So, Ghanshyam, tell me one thing. What do you want to see yourself in 5 years? Like,
Well, it's tough to say that, but let me give
what
you a
are your
some summary
goals?
of India in one aspect. India is a country now of 1 billion voters. In the continent of
Yes.
democracy in the world, we are a significant stakeholder. We are also, you spoke about digital transactions. 40% of the population uses digital transactions. 40% of all transactions are digital. Roughly 300 million digital transaction users for in finance money. 5 million businesses use digital transactions. In terms of mobile phone and smartphone, we have 1.2 billion users or connections, 1.2 billion mobile phone and smartphone connections. In terms of internet consumption, we are the highest. So no matter which way we slice and dice, as a democracy, we are the most tech-powered electorate, which means that hopefully in future, no matter what the current politics is about, that our citizens are going to be most well trained or most knowledgeable about the issues they would like to vote for. At some point in time, the shadows of fake news will go away, and those who have believed in fake news in the past will start believing in, will train themselves to figure out the real news, and
Yes.
their electoral choices will accordingly be better. So that makes me very hopeful. Also, as a country, the democracy in India continues to deepen. Recently, the parliament passed the bill that one third of legislators across the country will be women. Whenever that comes into force, 2029, 2034, it will create a sea of transformation. We have around elected MPs and MLAs in the country, 6,000 MPs and MLAs in the country, out of which around 600 are women. Once this bill comes into force, there will be 2,000 women who will be MPs and MLAs across the country. And if there are five candidates for each seat they contest in, then there are 10,000 women contestants for MPs and MLAs. So significant push for women leadership is going to happen. India has also been ridden by caste system. The center of gravity of politics is going more and more towards the poor, towards people from backward caste, Dalit caste, and those who have been marginalized in the process of caste system in the past. I also believe that in due course, the politics will balance more and more towards strength for minorities, unlike what we see right now. That aside, if I say what happens in the next 5 years or more, I think one part of my goal is to keep building solutions and keep visualizing a future where voters in India look at leaders and then they want not to hear their speeches, but they want to know about the work that they have done for society and as a result,
Yes.
the potential that they carry. Second is to having been blessed with such a broad professional and friend network through different colleges and work experiences. I think one good way to move forward is to support as many friends as possible in the ambitions that they carry towards society. And on one level, have such friends succeed, and at another, enable good ideas to succeed. Whether they are my ideas, somebody else's ideas, as long as they are good for society, use one's strength to make them successful. So, going forward, the goals are fairly simple: help good people or good friends succeed, and keep demonstrating a unique pathway for public leadership in India that India truly deserves and that will be more impactful for the future, which has integrity, which has more professional capability, which has more leverage of innovation for public impact.
That's awesome, Ghanshyam. Really. You have touched my heart. So, Ghanshyam, if you want to give an advice to your 20 years, yourself, you move back in the past and you say that you're 20 years and then you want to give an advice to yourself, what will be the advice?
There's many. One has to be, no matter how important you think your goals are, one should not be restless about it. Because when you're restless about it, you lose energy and
Mm.
you also lose the appreciation of people around you. Because in your restlessness, you may disrupt their lives. So that's one. Second is that when you are in a journey where you would want to do good for society, the onus of staying happy and resilient is on you. Don't expect that because you are on a journey to do good for society. It is the responsibility of people to keep you happy, healthy, and be very sensitive towards you. I think it's the onus of being happy, healthy, and resilient, irrespective of the nobility of your mission is on you. Third advice is that I think one has to be more mindful of the financial strain adventurous career can put on somebody, and has to plan better. I believe that when you are planning to do good in society and you come from a simple background, sometimes you forget that eventually the responsibility of financial wellness to be able to protect your mission and keep going towards it is on you. It's not on society. So one has
Mhm.
to plan it better to make the path sustainable.
Yeah, sustainability. Yeah, Ghanshyam. Actually, I don't know whether I told you. I was trying something in Bihar and my home village itself, in Patna. I tried for a few years from here, being remote, and I was just trying so that the people or the friends and relatives probably they can take a benefit. And what I noticed is that I was utterly I failed. Completely I failed. I tried to convince them, I tried to give, but I failed in the end. And in the end, I understood that it's unless and until the people over there or the beneficiary doesn't want to really use it or doesn't see that how what is going in your mind is not that thing is not getting translated in the recipient's mind, it fails. So the connectivity is very, very important. I think if I would have been in that place physically, would have helped a lot or would have been a different. But I get your point about this financial because in the end, if I just do everything with my heart, probably my next venture, if I do only with the heart, without the mind, without the financial things and the logical, it will again fail it. That's what I have learned, and I have burnt my fingers multiple times. Yeah. So you are right about this point. So I took some great points from you, Ghanshyam, today. Wonderful. You in the beginning you talked about commitment, you talked about conviction, and then the problems in the life, the negative energy or the obstacles and financial strains, for example, and the positive energy you talked about. So in the end, if if as an individual or as a society, if we can keep our positive energy higher than the negative energy, the net energy is always positive then. If we can somehow keep our environment in which the energy is higher, which fuels us again to do more and more, and the negative energy will come on. I mean, it cannot be stopped. Sometimes these negative energies are also like it can be used in a positive way. That okay, fine, I need to double down on this. Right, Ghanshyam. So sometimes it happens. So very nice, Ghanshyam. I think we are not yet done, but for today, definitely we have to. We'll be stopping this session at this place. But I think there is always room for us to discuss more onto one topic, more in deeper, and probably in the future we'll have some more sessions on those particular topics. But as a start today, this is really very good, Ghanshyam. I really thank you from the bottom of my heart that you attended this session. You gave your time, and I'll come back to you afterwards to discuss more on any particular topic. Do you have any last minutes from this session, for this podcast, any message to the people out there if they
Well,
want
thank
to
you so
reach
much
out
for
to
Pradeep.
you, ask you anything?
Thank you so much, Pradeep. I honestly appreciate the effort and initiative that you are taking to be able to probe and then
Thank you.
analyze and synthesize what others can take away from somebody else's journey, especially if the journey is unique. I think that it takes a self realization to be able to be enthusiastic about this whole Project 78, as you call it. I look forward to our conversations going forward. And if somebody wants to reach out, I'm there on LinkedIn. I'm fairly responsive. I'm also there on Twitter. So feel free to reach out. It'll be good to have a conversation. I don't have all the answers, but if any part of my experience can help you find an answer, I'll be more than happy to share it openly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ghanshyam. Have a wonderful day, and we'll meet soon.